Why did animals learn to fear us? Somewhere in South Africa near a quiet waterhole, a herd of elephants is standing in the afternoon heat. They are calm, they drink, they move slowly. They listen to the world around them, the way wild animals always do. Then from a hidden speaker in the bushes comes the sound of a lion, a low growl. The kind of sound we imagine should freeze every animal on the savannah. But the elephants barely react. A few raise their heads, a few pause, but there is no panic, no stampede, no desperate escape. To them, a lion is dangerous, yes, but it is also familiar. A lion is a known threat, a lion has rules. Then the speaker plays something else. Not a roar, not a gunshot, not a scream, just a human voice. Calm, ordinary, conversational. And suddenly the herd bolts, not slowly, not cautiously, immediately. The animals run as if the most dangerous thing in the landscape has just appeared. And that is the strange part. Because in many ecosystems, to many animals it has. Researchers tested this in Greater Kruger National Park, using hidden cameras and speakers at water holes. They played sounds of lions. They played hunting sounds, they played control sounds. And they played human voices speaking normally. The result was shocking. Across 19 species, including elephants, giraffes, zebras, leopards, hyenas, rhinos, kudu, warthogs, and impala. Almost every species reacted more strongly to human voices than to lions. In many cases, animals were more likely to run. They left the waterhole faster, and they stayed away longer. The king of beasts lost to ordinary human conversation. That raises a strange question: why? Why would animals fear us more than lions, wolves, bears, or other predators with claws, fangs, and bodies built for killing? We are not fast. We are not strong compared with most large predators. We do not have natural weapons. A human alone and unarmed is physically unimpressive. Soft skin, small teeth, no claws, no horns, no armor. In a fair one-on-one fight, we would lose to many animals that fear us. And yet, over and over again, wildlife behaves as if humans are the apex danger. Not because we look terrifying, but because history has taught them that we are. This is the story of how animals learn to fear us. And it is not just a story about guns, it is much older than that. To understand it, we have to start with the science of fear. Fear is not random in wild animals, it is a survival tool. An animal that runs from every harmless sound wastes energy. But an animal that ignores a real threat may not survive. So animals learn to rank danger, they learn what matters. They learn which sounds mean caution, which smells mean escape, which shapes mean death. And across many studies, human presence ranks extremely high. Conservation biologist Liana Zanet and other researchers have used playback experiments to test this directly. The method is simple but powerful. Place a speaker and a hidden camera where animals naturally feed, drink, or travel, play different sounds, then measure the reaction. Does the animal freeze? Does it look up? Does it leave? How fast? And does it return? In California, researchers tested pumas feeding at carcasses. When the pumas heard frogs, they usually stayed. But when they heard human voices, they fled in most trials. Even more importantly, they did not just run away for a moment and come right back. They spent less time feeding. In some cases, they abandoned the meal. For a predator like a puma, giving up food is a serious cost. That means the fear was not small, it changed behavior. In Australia, researchers tested kangaroos, wallabies, pademelons, and possums. The animals heard dogs, they heard Tasmanian devils, they heard wolves. And they heard humans. Again, human voices caused the strongest response. The marsupials fled from humans more often than from the next most frightening predator. Even in Britain, badgers showed stronger fear toward human voices than toward sounds of wolves and bears. That is especially interesting because wolves and bears have been gone from Britain for centuries. The badgers had never met them. But they still reacted strongly to us. Taken together, these studies point to the same idea. To many animals, humans are not just another species in the landscape. Humans are what researchers sometimes call a super predator. Not because we are physically superior in a direct fight, but because we kill with tools, planning, distance, and coordination. A lion kills because it is hungry, then it stops. A wolf pack hunts to eat, then it stops. But humans can kill from far away. Humans can kill with traps. Humans can kill without being seen. Humans can kill more than they need for one meal. And humans can return again and again, using new methods every time. From an animal's point of view, that makes us different. A lion is dangerous but predictable. It has a body. It has a territory. It has a hunting style. Prey animals can learn its patterns. They can watch the wind. They can track movement. They can stay alert near tall grass. They can understand the risk. But humans break those rules. A human may appear on foot or in a vehicle, or with dogs, or with traps, or with weapons. A human may come during the day, or at night. A human may not even need to get close. And that unpredictability matters. Fear is not only about how scary a predator looks. It is about how often that predator succeeds, how little warning it gives, how many ways it can attack, and how much damage it can do across a population. By that measure, humans have been one of the most dangerous animals on Earth, and animals have noticed. This did not begin yesterday. Long before modern firearms, humans were already unusual predators. Early humans hunted with cooperation. They planned, they communicated. They tracked animals over long distances. They used fire, they made tools, they set traps, they worked in groups. That combination is rare. A lion has strength, a cheetah has speed, a wolf pack has coordination. But humans added something else, technology. A sharpened stick became a spear. A spear became a throwing weapon. A throwing weapon became a bow became a firearm, a trap became a system. A hunt became an organized strategy. Over time, our reach became longer, our risk became lower, and our effect on animals became larger. The lion's basic hunting method has changed little over thousands of years. Ours changed completely. To wildlife, every major step in human technology was an escalation. More distance, more surprise, more efficiency, more danger, so animals learned. Some learned through direct experience. A deer hears people, runs, and survives. Another stays too long and does not. The survivors shape the next generation. But not all learning needs to be genetic. Many animals also learn socially. A young animal watches its mother flee from a human voice. It follows, it survives. And that lesson becomes part of its world. No speech is needed, no explanation, just behavior. Run when you hear that sound. Leave when you smell that scent, stay away from that shape. In social animals, fear can spread quickly. One alarm call can teach a group. One dangerous encounter can change a herd's route. One cautious parent can train offspring without intending to. This is why fear of humans can appear faster than slow genetic evolution alone would suggest. Animals do not need millions of years to begin avoiding a deadly threat. Sometimes one generation is enough. But there is another side to the story. Because not every animal had time to learn this lesson. And the ones that did not often paid a terrible price. In conservation biology, there is a concept called ecological naivete. It describes animals that evolved without certain predators, and therefore never developed the right fear response. This often happens on islands. For thousands of generations, an island species may live without large land predators. No big cats, no wolves, no snakes, no hunting mammals. In that kind of world, fear works differently. If nothing on land hunts you, then running from every large animal is unnecessary. Caution does not pay off. So the fear response fades or never develops. The dodo is the most famous example. The dodo lived on Mauritius, an island in the Indian Ocean. It was flightless. It nested on the ground. And for a long time, it had no major land predators to fear. When humans arrived, the dodo had no deep history telling it what humans meant. It did not react like a deer. It did not react like an elephant. It did not react like an animal from a landscape shaped by hunters. It was not stupid. It was adapted to a different world. And when that world changed, it could not adjust fast enough. The dodo's extinction was not caused by one single thing. Human hunting mattered, introduced animals mattered. Pigs, monkeys, rats, and other animals disturbed nests and ecosystems. Habitat changes mattered too. But the deeper tragedy is this. The dodo had no reason to fear the kind of danger that suddenly arrived. And by the time the lesson became clear, there was no time left for the species to learn it. This pattern has repeated across many islands. Birds that evolved without mammalian predators often showed little fear when humans arrived. Some nested on the ground, some could not fly. Some approached new animals with curiosity rather than alarm. And again, that innocence became fatal. This is why island extinctions are so common in recent history. Not because island animals are weak, but because they were specialized for worlds without us. They were not prepared for humans, or for the animals humans brought with them: cats, rats, dogs, pigs, monkeys. Creatures that turned peaceful islands into dangerous landscapes almost overnight. The contrast is striking. On continents where animals lived with humans for long periods, fear had time to develop. On isolated islands, it often did not. The difference between running and standing still could be the difference between a population that had centuries to learn and one that had no warning at all. There is an even older layer to this story. The disappearance of the megafauna. Across the world, many of the largest animals vanished after humans arrived. Mammoths, giant ground sloths, massive kangaroos, giant birds. Huge herbivores, powerful predators. These animals had survived ice ages, climate shifts, and natural predators. Then, in many places, they disappeared within a relatively short window after humans entered the ecosystem. Scientists still debate exactly why. Climate change played a role in many cases. Habitat shifts mattered. Human hunting pressure likely mattered too. The answer is not simple. But the pattern is difficult to ignore. Again and again, the arrival of humans overlaps with the decline of large animals. If humans were even partly responsible, it tells us something important. The biggest animals on land were not automatically safe from us. Size did not guarantee survival. Strength did not guarantee survival. Dominance in the old ecosystem did not guarantee survival in the new one. That may be one reason modern animals react so strongly to us. The fear is not based on appearance, it is based on outcome. Across deep time, animals that underestimated humans often disappeared. Animals that avoided humans were more likely to survive. Over many generations, that creates a powerful pattern. Run first, ask questions later. And yet the story is not only dark. Sometimes animals use fear of humans in surprising ways. This is called the human shield effect. In some landscapes, prey animals move closer to human activity because predators avoid people even more than prey do. A deer may give birth closer to roads or houses. A moose may choose areas near human settlement. Not because humans are perfectly safe, but because wolves or other predators may be less willing to approach. In that strange way, our reputation becomes a shield. We are feared by prey. But we are also feared by predators, and prey can use that. Imagine a deer near the edge of a forest. Somewhere behind it, a wolf may be moving through the trees. The deer cannot defeat the wolf, but it may not need to. If the deer moves closer to a farmhouse, the wolf may stop. Not because the house protects the deer directly, but because the wolf fears the people inside. That is a strange ecological inversion. The most feared species in the landscape can become, accidentally, a refuge. But this is not a simple good news story. Human areas bring roads, fences, noise, pollution, and other risks. The shield can help in one way and harm in another. Nature rarely gives clean answers. So why did animals learn to fear us? Because humans changed the rules of predation. We are not the strongest animal, we are not the fastest. We are not the most physically intimidating, But we are persistent, we are coordinated, we use tools, we teach each other, we plan ahead. We transform landscapes, and we keep improving our methods. To animals, that combination is terrifying. A lion is dangerous because of what it is. A human is dangerous because of what it can become. A human with a stick, a human with a spear, a human with a bow, a human with a trap. A human with a vehicle, a human with a weapon, a human with a plan. That is why a calm human voice can be more frightening than a lion's roar. The voice itself is not dangerous, but what it represents is. It represents a species that can appear anywhere. A species that can kill from a distance. A species that can change the land. A species that has repeatedly reshaped the fate of other animals. The elephant that runs from a human voice is not being irrational. It is reading history, not written history, not history in books. But history carried in behavior, in memory, in survival. In the choices of mothers and offspring, in the routes herds avoid. In the places predators no longer enter. In the silence after humans arrive. We often imagine ourselves as separate from nature, as observers, visitors, tourists, storytellers. We see ourselves as the clever primate that builds cities, writes books, and goes into the wild to reconnect with something ancient. But to much of the animal world, we are not visitors, we are a pressure, a risk, a sound worth running from. And somewhere, right now, an animal that has never personally met a human may still flee at the sound of our voice. Not because it understands us. Not because it knows our history. But because somewhere before it, another animal learned the lesson. And survived long enough to pass the warning forward. That is why animals fear us. Not because we look like monsters. But because to them, history says we are the one predator that changed everything.